What's up, YouTube? It's me, your guy, T-Belly here, with a brand new video featuring Captain Algebra.
Hey everybody, Captain Algebra here, and I'm finally getting a chance to talk about my experience at the Midwest Gaming Classic and all the games I picked up. It took a little while because I was waiting for something to come in the mail, and it was supposed to get here in 2 days, and it took 2 weeks, but it's finally here, so let's get started. First of all, the experience. That is the best part of the Midwest Gaming Classic. Getting to meet other YouTubers, seeing old friends, hanging out, it's just a blast. So I got there Saturday morning, right away as it opened. I'm going down the escalators. Who did I see? The Game Beaters. Pretty cool. I knew they were going to be there. I'm so excited to meet them. Dan, Evil Dan, and Dick Boots, very cool guys. So it was cool to get to know them, hung out with them a little bit, went to the vendor hall together. Then we got split up because I didn't meet my buddy. But it was really cool. We got to see, I saw them more as the time went on. But Game Beaters are great guys, really cool channel if you haven't checked them out. Then, right as I'm walking in, I saw Gaming Off the Grid. And these guys I just kind of got to know recently. They stopped doing one, I think it was the last Mega Powers Monthly with Megadan. So I started checking out their stuff, and they are awesome guys, really cool. And the best part was, you know, we just met for the first time, but it seemed like we had been hanging out for years. Like, we just was like an immediate connection. Didn't get a lot of chance to talk to them right then and there, but later on we spent a lot of time together. We played some Super C when we were tailgating. We drank some beers together. It was a really good time. Again, a fantastic channel. They're growing really well right now. Definitely check their stuff out. Then, of course, I was going to Video Games Monthly first. Pretty good friends with the owner, Joe. So, you know, shot the shit with them a little bit, hung out for a little bit, and then, you know, had to go look for some games. So, went on my way. As I'm doing that, ran into Musty Hobbit, Chris Pico, the old-ass retro gamer, Jason from Corpse Flood Gaming, and Church from the Game Grinder. So these guys are the guys that I was on the panel with. And then I also had something to give Musty, and then Musty had something for me. So, you know, I was doing all that. And it was good to see them. You know, again, we were going to hang out the rest of the time. But great guys. I met most of them last year. But Chris and Musty I didn't get a chance to meet last year, so I was glad to like hang out with them. Now, I had met Chris already because we went game hunting in Chicago a few months ago. It was really cool to finally meet Musty and then talk to Jason from Corpse Flood a little bit more. Then we ran into back in the day gamer, my good buddy Tony. He's always a riot to hang out with, just a lot of fun. We met at Midwest Gaming Classic 3 years ago, and so now every year we get to meet up there, hang out. His wife Erica's there, she's awesome, really good time. Then around this time, also ran into Megadan, the other Mega Power. You guys know about Megadan, I don't need to talk about him, but it's always just cool to hang out with him. We try to do the Mega Powers Monthly once a month, but we don't always get a chance to do that. And it was just cool to hang out with him. I spent a lot of time walking around the vendor hall with him, looking for games, just chatting it up. And then with him was also Folk Raven Bear. So he's another guy, he was a local guy near Milwaukee. I've talked to him a little bit online before he stopped into streams and stuff, but I'd never met him before. So actually for a while it was Megadan, me, and Folk Raven going around. And Folk Raven knows so much about games. It was awesome. You know, we're looking through these piles of NES games, and like every single game he's pulling out, oh, have you looked at this game? Have you seen this game? Just knows so much about the game. So that was really cool. You know, learned some stuff about some games I never knew. Learned about some good games I need to get in the future, so that was really cool. And we even ended up having lunch, those two guys, and then Megadan's wife, Meg. Mega Meg, because Megadan's changing his name to Mr. Mega Meg. I mean, come on, Mega Meg's the important one here. That's good enough. Really good time hanging out with those guys. Then the last guy I met is a guy I met last year, John Aguilera. I met him through Video Games Monthly. He's a subscriber, so I watch all his videos. He's another local guy here in Wisconsin. So again, it's always fun hanging out with him. He's a really funny dude. He was there since Friday night, so got to hear some stories from him and Video Games Monthly about the shenanigans that went on the night before. And it got me excited because, you know, we always hang out on that Saturday night, and it was fun as usual. So then I want to really talk quickly about that Saturday night. Chris Pico, I brought up to him, hey, we should have a YouTuber dinner where we can all get together and hang out. And so he kind of looked around, found places, and a bunch of us went there. There's probably at least 30 of us there. It was crazy. I didn't get to meet everybody, but Pico was there, Musty Hobbit, Church from Game Grinder, Jason from Corpse Flood, Rising Blue Phoenix, Wind Waker sucks, by the way, Megadan, Gaming Off the Grid, Back in the Day Gamer, Video Games Monthly was there. Geez, am I missing anybody? Like I said, there's so many. Oh, Game Beaters were there. So many people, and even some other people I haven't really met before. Tesseract, I know Nintendo Hodge was there. I didn't really get a chance to talk to them too much, unfortunately. My buddy Zach, who was there at the con with me. So it was just this awesome group of guys. We just sat there having dinner, having drinks, watched Megadan dominate gaming off the grid in NBA Jam, which is always great. So really, really good time. Definitely look forward to do that again next year. And then Sunday was actually that panel that I was on. It was the Midwest YouTubers. So it was kind of like a survival guide about how to succeed on YouTube, how to get started, how to avoid burnout and that stuff. And the video's already been posted. A lot of you watched it already and had great reviews. A lot of positive comments, so that felt really good. You know, it was my first time doing this. I think they all did it last year except for Taylor from Rising Blue Phoenix because of the weather, so he didn't make it down. So when they invited me on here, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. But I don't really love public speaking too much. So I was pretty nervous, but, you know, I look back on my teaching experience, and I think I did a pretty good job. But yeah, it was just a blast. So a really good time. So yeah, like I said, the best part of Midwest Gaming Classic, hanging out with all you guys that were there, meeting new people. It's just a blast. But before the games, there's some other stuff that I was given. So the first one was actually from my panel. I think it was Pico's idea. And yeah, just wait till you see what it is. So it was right as I was leaving. He's like, oh, wait, you gotta hold on. I got something for you. I'm like, oh God, what is it? And here it is, guys. A Wind Waker poster signed by all the guys on the panel. Now I'll get a close-up of that for you. But yeah, this was my reaction right here. I was like, seriously? No, I mean, it's really cool. I'm going to get this framed at some point, put it in my game room. Yeah, it sucks that it's Wind Waker, but it's pretty funny they did that. And it was really cool during that panel how Taylor and I were going back and forth, you know, ribbing each other on Wind Waker since he likes it and I hate it. So that was a lot of fun. So thank you, Chris Pico, and the rest of the guys from the panel. Next, John Aguilera also had something. So that Sunday, as I was packing up the hotel room, got a text from John. He's like, hey, you and Tony around? I got some stuff for you. I'm like, yeah, sure, come on up. So he comes in with this sweet, like, Power Ranger backpack. I freaking love the Power Rangers, so this is sweet. And then it's stuffed with awesome shit. First of all, we got a Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure.
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Which is awesome. Big Stone Cold fan. Oh, also in here, this wasn't from him, but I put them in here. We've got two CDs from Hazer, who that's Gaming Off the Grid's band. So definitely can't wait to listen to this. I'll definitely be putting it in one of my videos at some point. We've got a Daffy Duck Space Jam little plushie. I actually loved Space Jam growing up. Then we got some magnets from Legend of Zelda. So those are pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. We've got an umbrella like patch. Let's see what else is in here. We've got a Chibi Robo amiibo, so that's pretty cool. And we got, is it Power Rangers playing cards? Oh no, it's just Power Rangers War of the Zords card game. So that's pretty sweet. And then we've got a mini 1-up card, which is cool, plus a regular 1-up card, as well as the fluid. I needed a new one of that. My old one was getting pretty disgusting. And then another little umbrella-like patch. So that was really cool. John, thank you. He's a really cool guy, really fun to hang out with. We only get to see each other so far at the Midwest Gaming Classic, but definitely look forward to next year. So the next thing I got was the Weekend Rental Podcast dust sleeve from Vigigamer. So I was walking around the convention. All of a sudden I see this guy come up to me. He looked familiar, and he goes, "Oh, Captain Algebra, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then introduced himself as Vigigamer. Talked to him a little bit in streams before. Really cool guy. He's been to the Midwest Gaming Convention a lot of years now. And so we talked to him a little bit, gave me 2 of these dust sleeves, which is really cool. So I'll make a great collection to the dust sleeves I already have. So Vigigamer, thank you very much. And now, on to the games. First couple things, games that were given to me. First one, so we were doing a trade night at that dinner, and Back in the Gamer had something I wanted, and so I had something he wanted, so from him I got Totally Rad. So this game I've been wanting for a while since it's on Megadan's stream. I heard it was really cool. It's a really fun like action platformer shooter. But it's funny, the first time I saw this, Megadan was streaming it the morning of the first Mega Powers Monthly. And so I'm watching, and Megadan's just going crazy, like, everyone, it's totally rad. It's totally rad, guys.
Because I'm rad. I'm totally rad. Oh, yeah. I'm freaking rad.
He's just all hyper. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's coming to my my house tonight? I don't know how I feel about that. But no, it ended up being really cool. So it's a really fun game. I haven't played it too much yet, but it's a really nice, clean copy. Definitely want to play it more. Seems like Megadan got through pretty easily. I mean, he gets through most games pretty easily, but I feel like it's a game I can probably beat pretty quickly. So maybe I'll stream it at some point. Next, I mentioned I was hanging with Folk Raven Bear and Megadan most of the day, and so we kind of broke off for a little while, and then Folk Raven Bear comes up to me, hands me a game. I'm like, dude, you didn't have to do that. Monster in my pocket. Another game that was like on my giant list. It wasn't my top 10, but it was on my bigger list of games I was looking for. Just again, I heard this, I think, back in the day, Gamer picked it up last year, and it just looked really cool. You know, it's an action platformer. It's based on that cartoon from the, early 90s, late 80s. I never watched it, but it's a really fun platformer. You play as the monster or as Dracula, and they play pretty much the same exact way. But you go through the stages, and you get boss fights. It's a really fun game. It's, you know, it's like 30 to 40 bucks right now. So definitely pick it up before it goes up any higher, because it's a great game. And the next thing I got was from Jason from Corpse Flood Gaming. First thing is a Kingdom Hearts, either wall hang or a flag, something like that. It's some promotional item that he got a bunch of, so he was just throwing them around at the dinner we had, whoever wanted one. And he also got a bunch of these games for cheap. Star Wars Battlefront 2. So he gave me that. I love Star Wars, obviously. I was really excited to play this, but I didn't want to buy it for a while, especially with all the microtransactions that were going on. I know people were very upset about that. But I did. I just put it in, didn't fully install it yet, so I just played like the arcade mode. So it was really fun. Definitely can't wait to play more of it. There's another thing that I was given, or I traded with a buddy, but that we're going to save till the end, because it's actually one of my top 10 items. So next we're going to look at the games that I picked up that were on my like big, full list, but didn't make the top 10. First we're going to look at the Super Nintendo, and we got Rival Turf. This one was actually given me from Video Games Monthly. You know, we always hang out at night, and they had this big bin of games that they had bought for cheap, and so they're like, hey, you know, I asked, like, hey, do you have Rival Turf? And sure enough, they had it, so they gave it to me, which was really cool. But this is one of the first games that Dan and I streamed for Mega Powers Monthly, and one of the most hilarious moments ever happened. I don't know if you guys were there and saw it, but basically we're playing, and there's this guy standing against the wall, and there's another guy that's like down on his knees, and it looks really bad. I don't know if the developers did that on purpose, but Dan and I laughed hysterically during it. But it's just your generic beat 'em up, but it's hilarious. It's a lot of fun. Every time you die, there's like a split second where you're like, ah! It's just hilarious. Really fun game. Next, Battletoads and Battle Maniacs. So I'm a big Battletoads Double Dragon fan, and then I also had Battletoads on the Game Boy growing up. And then recently I saw Solid Nate streaming this, and it looked like a really fun Battletoads game. So I knew it was one I was looking for. It's actually, I think, one of the first games I picked up. So I saw it, got a decent price on it, actually got a little deal because I bundled some stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to play this more. I know Battletoads games tend to be pretty hard, but it seemed like this one might be a little bit easier than like your regular Battletoads game. But it's really cool to add that to the collection. And the last Super Nintendo game, Excalibur 2097. This has been on my list for a while. It was, I think, a Hidden Gems video from Metal Jesus Rocks. And this is just like an action platformer. It's pretty generic, but you've got a sword. You know, it's called Excalibur, I'm pretty sure. And you go around killing the enemies, and you got your boss fights. You got general power-ups you can find, stuff like that. And it was funny, I couldn't remember what this game was before I bought it, but I just remember it was on my list. And so I got home, played it, and really enjoying it so far. Definitely going to play it more. Maybe I'll stream it at some point too. Next we're going to go with the Genesis game I picked up, Ghouls and Ghosts. Yeah, I know what you guys are saying. But Captain Algebra hates Ghosts and Goblins. You're right, I hate Ghosts and Goblins. I don't mind Super Ghouls and Ghosts or Ghouls and Ghosts. So I always thought this one looked pretty cool. It's cool how you can shoot straight down and straight up. And so I definitely want to check this out. I've heard that it's probably a little bit easier than Super Ghouls and Ghosts and regular Ghosts and Goblins. And I was really excited to find it so cheap in the box. It's missing the manual, which is usually a big no-no for me with Genesis games. You know, I want to complete, but at least it has the box. I can get the manual down the road. But definitely look forward to play this. I'll be getting to the G's soon in my Genesis A to Z, so I'll definitely be streaming this soon. Next, we go with some Xbox 360 games. We got Ghostbusters, the video game. So in my top 10 was Ghostbusters on the Genesis, and Megadan mentioned that Ghostbusters on Xbox 360 was a lot of fun too. And so let's keep an eye on that, but a lot of them were like 20, 25 bucks. I'm like, that's a little high for me. So I think got this one for 15. You're like a new recruit with the Ghostbusters, and they're trying to train you, and right away things go awry, and you're called to the hotel, and Slimer's broken out, and then there's some other ghosts. And so it's like a little tutorial mode to get used to the game and the controls. But it looks like a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to play this soon. Ghostbusters games are just fun. Even the old NES games, I didn't mind those. But definitely excited to try this one. And the next Xbox 360 game, Red Dead Redemption, Game of the Year Edition. So I picked up Red Dead 2 for Christmas, and I couldn't play it until I played the original one, but I could never find it. So that was big, high on my list. Didn't make the top 10, but I wanted to find it. Sure enough, found it. I have the Undead version already. This actually comes with Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare right on it. So that's cool. But from when I played with it a little bit, seems like a lot of fun. Definitely better than Red Dead Revolver. It's got the open world. I like linear games, but Red Dead Revolver just seemed kind of boring. This seems a lot more action-packed, and everyone talks great things about Red Dead Redemption, so definitely gonna have to play this one soon. And next we got the NES games. First one, Cobra Command. So this was a game that I recently saw in Hidden Game Room's Video Games Monthly box, and it just looked kind of interesting. And so, found it for cheap. Played it, it's not as good as I thought. So it's basically a Choplifter clone, but definitely not done as well as Choplifter. The screen kind of scrolls really weird. It's kind of hard to aim and shoot. I didn't get really far. But, like I said, it's cheap. I think if I played a little bit more, I'll probably like it more. Next, Karnov. This is another game I've seen people stream lately. I think EC Myers was playing it. Maybe even Austin from Gaming Ain't Easy. And it's just that fun action platformer that looked pretty interesting. Karnov's this really weird, like Russian-looking dude. And he uses these fireballs that he spits out. And you can get other things like to jump higher. You can get a ladder to get higher places. So that always looked pretty cool. Again, another cheap game. And so definitely picked it up. Next one, Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat. So I was looking through this big bin of NES games, and I saw this, and I just remember that Pat and Ian always talk about it on their podcast because people give them crap because they talked about it once, and all of a sudden it skyrocketed in value. And I saw it, and it was marked at $8. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that seems cheap. Sure enough, I looked it up on Price Runner. It's like a $20 game. Actually got it for $5. So that was cool. It's basically like super off-road and super sprint, those type of games. So you see the whole racetrack, and you go around. You can upgrade your car as the races go on, and you win money. But it's a really, really fun game. Definitely glad I found it for cheap. And last, another thing for Video Games Monthly, Regen Sphere, Complete in Box. So they had gotten a bunch of Complete in Box games for really cheap, and so they gave this to me for a really good deal. And so I already have Dragon Spirit, but it was nice to get the box manual. It's in really good shape. And so, I got another game for trade fodder. So if you're looking for Dragon Spirit, hit me up. But it's a really fun shooter. I've got the TurboGrafx game as well. Seems like the TurboGrafx game is more similar to the arcade, and it's the harder. So I definitely want to try and beat this one soon. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the top 10. How did I do in the top 10 this year? Last year, I think I got most of the stuff, but I couldn't quite find them all. So let's get started. Number 10 was also my number 10 from last year, Toomba on PS1. So I didn't see it all last year, and this one I found pretty early, and I could not believe the price tag on it. So usually I see this going more like $90 to $100. This one was $75. As soon as I saw it, I grabbed it. It's a beautiful copy. It does have a little hole in the corner because they said it was a display copy. I'm like, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. It plays. It's in great shape. So definitely was very excited to pick this up. It's a game I played as a kid. My buddy had it, and I used to borrow it from time to time, and it was just a really fun, weird game. And it kind of has like these achievements when you do certain things, but you're fighting these pigs, man-eating plants, there's hidden paths, there's different weapons you can get, and it's a really cool looking game on the PS1, and it's hard to find. So you find it for a decent price, definitely pick it up. And number 9, Heavy Barrel! Heavy Barrel. So this is a game I saw Megadan stream recently, and he always talked about how it's very similar to Contra, so he knows that I would love it. And sure enough, it's similar to Contra. You kill enemies, you can pick up keys that open these boxes, and that can get you different weapons. You can also collect pieces of the heavy barrel weapon, and then when you pick it up, that's what happens. You're just like, heavy barrel! And it's like, what is that saying? And so the entire time Dan and I were walking around Midwest Gaming Classic, I was saying that over and over again. And it's just hilarious. You got to hear Megadan say it. It's pretty funny. So definitely a fun game. Another game that's pretty cheap, so I had to pick it up. And number 8, Helios. So a shooter on the Genesis that Nefarious West recommended, and oh my god, this game does not disappoint. Now, I spent a while looking for this. I couldn't find it. I kept asking people. They didn't say they didn't have it. And then one person did say they saw it, but it didn't have the manual. So I'm like, I don't really want that. But then somebody else said, oh, it's at a booth over here. I looked and looked and looked, couldn't find it. So finally, I did go to the booth where it didn't have the manual. I saw it. It was for a decent price, so I picked it up. It actually does have a photocopied manual in it. So this, I'm pretty sure this was a rental copy at some point back in the day. And so at least I have that. I'll pick up the manual at some point. But it's a really, really cool shooter. You fly on Pegasus, and you got to find the Sword of Helios. And you play as Apollo, and you have to go save Artemis. Really cool. It's got cool power-ups. The sprites look really good. The music is great. If you haven't checked out Nefarious West's video on it, definitely do, because it sold me on this game. Number 7, Ghostbusters. So this is a game I definitely really wanted. It's always looked really cool. I've heard really good things about it. This one was one of the few Genesis games I actually did find complete. It was, along with Battletoads and Battle Maniacs, one of the first games I picked up, so I was pretty excited to find something off my list so quickly. But it's a fun action platformer. You get to pick certain levels that you go to, and then try and rid it of the ghosts. Didn't play it for too much, but again, G's are coming up in the Genesis A to Z soon, so I should be playing it soon, so that'll be a really fun stream. Number 6, another Genesis game, Flicky. So this is a game I played on my Uncle's Sega channel growing up, and it's just a fun little platformer, like time game. You're trying to pick up all the chicks and get them to safety before the cats and other before the cats get you. This again didn't have the manual, but I picked it up on Sunday as I was leaving. It was the only time I saw it. It was in good shape. And the guys were making deals at the end, so I got a deal on it. So again, it's something I could probably find the manual for pretty soon. And number 5, Ikaruga. So this was a huge want on my list, obviously at number 5. So it's a really fun shooter on the GameCube. I mentioned it in my video of my wish list. Basically, you've got a light side of your ship and a dark side, and you flip back and forth. And if you use the dark side on white enemies, it does more damage. But then if you get hit by their white bullets, it'll kill you. So if you have your black ship, you can get hit by black bullets, you absorb them, and then vice versa with the white. So it's a really cool mechanic. It is hard though. I did not get very far the first time I played it, so definitely got to put more time into it. I know Gaming Off the Grid highly recommends it, so I'm definitely going to play it more, and hopefully I can beat it at some point. So far we're 5 for 5 off the wish list. Let's see if we can keep it going. At number 4, Blazing Lasers. Oh my god, this might be one of my favorite games of all time now. I've heard great things about this game, but the moment I put it in and played it, I didn't want to stop. I just kept playing and playing and playing. I think I got to stage 7 my first time playing it without using a continue. So that was really cool. Now, at that point, it was getting pretty tough. But I felt like this game was pretty easy to get a grasp of. I figured out which weapon I wanted right away. You can upgrade it as you go. So it's just such a blast. The music's fantastic. Definitely a game I have to be streaming soon. At number 3, Journey to Silius. Another game I've been seeing streamed lately, and I saw Eugene, E.C. Myers. He actually did No Death Run, which is really cool. Megadan did No Death Run. And it's just a really cool action platformer. It was originally supposed to be a Terminator game, but they lost the rights, and so that's how it became Journey to Silius. And it's just a fun action platformer. It's kind of funny, so I found this in a box, and there were 2 copies. There was a copy for $29.99 that had a terrible label. Then I pull this out for $24.99 that is absolutely pristine label. I'm like, how does that happen? Obviously they didn't pay too close attention to the prices on the game, but I was definitely happy to pick this up. It's one of those games I'm hoping to beat pretty soon. It seems like once you know the patterns, it's not too difficult. Plus, watching Megadan and Eugene stream it, I think I have a good idea of how to play some of the levels and bosses. At number 2, Contra 4. So this is a big one on my list just because I'm an absolutely huge fan of Contra series, and this one does not disappoint. Now it's really cool how you use the top screen and bottom screen on the DS, but it's tough. Like all Contra games, it's pretty tough. I didn't get very far when I first played it, but the music's great, the action's great. It's just that classic Contra feel. Way Forward did a great job with this game. Unfortunately, this is the only one I saw, so I know Church from Game Grinder was looking for it. He never did get it, unfortunately, so I feel kind of bad, but, you know, sometimes that's the way it is. Next year, Church. And last, number 1. That's right, we got all 10 top 10 items. A Sega Master System. So this one is actually from Musty Hobbit. So after I posted that video, Musty commented and said, hey, I might have something for you. And we were talking about that trade night. And so he talked to me about the Master System he had. It comes with the controller, the power cords, a phaser, and he had a bunch of games. He let me look at the list and see what I wanted. So I did grab a couple of them from him that were complete in box, because like Genesis, I want them complete. You know, I don't want them loose. And if possible, I do want the manual. And so I picked up a couple there, and then I also picked up a couple just at the show. So let's look at the ones that he gave to me first. First one, Thunderblade. So really cool helicopter shooter. I guess it was an arcade hit. I'm not very good at this shooter compared to some of the other ones that I picked up, but it is a fun game, and I was definitely glad I picked up this Master System, because so far all the games I've played have been really fun, including this one. Next thing Musty gave me? Outrun. You always hear about Outrun on the Master System as well as on the Genesis. Just a classic racing game. Really reminds me of like your Rad Racer game on the NES. So it's pretty cool. You got a certain amount of time to get to the checkpoints and stuff. And it's just a solid game. I think it's a classic on the Master System. So definitely one I was very excited to pick up. So again, thank you, Musty. And the last 2, I think I picked up on the last day. Just, you know, I had a little bit of money left to spend, so I just wanted to find some more Master System games. First one, Double Dragon. So I always heard that this game was pretty good on the Master System, and sure enough, it does disappoint. It doesn't play as well as the NES version for sure. Some of the hit detection seems a little bit weird, and it doesn't play exactly like the NES version. Like the levels aren't the exact same either. But it was really fun from what I've played. I might have to stream this at some point. I'm sure Megadan would get a kick out of it. He loves the Double Dragon series. But this one definitely did not disappoint. And then last, another game that I heard really good things about, Shinobi. So Shinobi, just that classic Genesis game. It was funny, this one I remember putting in and I just did not want to stop playing it. Now I could say that about with almost all these games on here. But Blazing Lasers and this one were the top 2 that I did not want to put down. It was very hard to stop recording gameplay footage. It was just so much fun. So yeah, definitely glad I picked that up. So there you go. That's all the stuff I got from Midwest Gaming Classic and all the people I met. It was a fantastic weekend, a great time as usual. Like I said, every game here I did not want to put down. It was a ton of fun. And so yeah, I'm really excited to add that Master System to my collection. I don't really see much of that in the wild in like my local game store, but when I branch out to Madison, I can usually find some, so we're definitely looking to add to that. Definitely looks nice on my shelf next to my Genesis games. So yeah, if you guys ever have recommendations for other Sega Master System games to get, let me know. Thanks for watching. I know this one's a little bit long, just because so much to talk about. It's such a great time. So many good games, and had to get gameplay footage for all of it. So really appreciate you sticking through. And can't wait till the next Midwest Gaming Classic. And until next time, this is Captain Algebra, signing off.
Peace.